Shalom, Rabbi Izzy here again. A friend of mine asked, why do we need all these laws that have developed over the centuries by the rabbis when the laws in the Torah are so clear? Well, the problem is they're not clear. They're often very vague. For example, it says, you shall not work on the Sabbath. What does that mean? What constitutes work? This is the questions that the rabbis ask. Again, not out of a spirit of trying to get away with things, but out of a spirit of we want to make sure that we honor God and obey His laws properly. And so a decision had to be made about that, a ruling had to be made, and they came up with 39 categories of work that was prohibited on the Sabbath, and this has to do with the fact that these categories are in the verses immediately following that commandment to not do work on the Sabbath. So they use that to derive. It's basically all of the work that was done to build the tabernacle, the Mishkan. And then this kind of leads to a little side note, but I think a beautiful image in that our job is to create a place for God in the world, just as Israel built this Mishkan tabernacle as a house of God. Our role is to create this place for God in the world. But yet on the Sabbath, this is the day of rest. We stop trying to do this, and instead we just simply enjoy God's presence in communion with Him and in worship of Him and celebration of all that He has given us. The other issue is that sometimes these commandments come into conflict with one another. So how do you handle those things? For example, it says that you not to work on the Sabbath, but it also says that on the 8th day you are to circumcise your male children. Well, what if the 8th day falls on the Sabbath? Is that work that should be done or not? And again, the rabbis had to make a ruling on this. And the ruling is yes, you do the circumcision because that is the sign of God's covenant with His people, and therefore that trumps the stipulation of not doing work. I like to think of the Torah, the commandments that are in the Bible, as like the Constitution of the United States. And then now you have a court of judges who are making rulings and interpretations of what that Constitution meant and said back then. And I think that's a really good analogy to understand the difference between Torah commandments and rabbinical commandments. It's this attempt to understand and to interpret what the Torah said in order to establish a proper way of life for the Jewish people who are in this covenant with God in a way that will honor Him and obey His commandments. So I hope this helps you all and sheds a little bit light on this, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.